by Randy Johnson.
Good evening, everyone.
Welcome, John.
Thanks, Jim. How are you doing? I'm here because I've had a lot of citizens from the city ask me to speak and put some information out that's been kind of kept behind closed doors to them, and really want everybody to hear this. Number one, I'm not from the city. I've been here about 2 years, most of the time now. Began here at the first recall. I was on the recall campaign, collecting signatures, in which I found at that point, your resident Adam Nick, or past resident Adam Nick, paid for and paid me, paid everyone for that campaign. During that, as you know how that turned out, once that was over, I was contacted by Mr. Nick to come and work for his campaign, where I was paid as his campaign manager along with Leah Basile's campaign manager. And at the same time, I was the only officer on the project of the Good Citizens Against Dwight Robinson, all combined, and living in Mr. Nick's home at the time for 2 months, paid for him for this campaign. When that came down and he wasn't elected, he instantly asked me and hired me to run the recall campaign, in which I collected every single signature, with the exception of very few that the volunteers put out, and one circulator which Mr. Nick paid directly. I lived at the hotel over here 4.5 months, ran every aspect of the campaign, with the exception of the first month where, because you have to validate signatures and things, have them ready to go ahead of time, where Mr. Gardner was the one who collected and validated all the signatures. And then when he had some back problems, I took that part over also and did the entire campaign. Ms. Clark, whose name was on the campaign, was very much out of it. Every decision basically on that campaign was made by Adam Nick, because he paid every dime of that campaign also directly to me. Over $160,000 that went to me, plus the money that went to other people. These things are a little important because not only is all that happened, there's a reason for it. The city, we can talk about it being bought and paid for. Mr. Cagley knows how his campaign was inserted into the funds on the recall campaign so that they didn't have to show any funds going to that, which Mr. Nick also paid for. Mr. Gardner also is very, very aware of all this, because we had several conversations in person and at his home when I picked up the paperwork to do the validating, not to mention emails that I have from him and Ms. Basile, who I made very aware of the things that were going on and who was buying and paying for this city to be done. Mr. Nick spent a lot of money. My calculations are somewhere around $350,000 to $400,000 for the campaign and the 2 recalls. There are still things that have not come out yet.
Your time's up, John.
Okay, give me 1 second. Could I have 10 seconds? I just want to warn everybody in the city. The whole main outcome of this is to have 3 people on the city council that will vote for a very, very large settlement for one individual in the city who feels that he's owed money by the city because of Mr. Robinson, Mr. Hamilton, and Mr. Boyd's voting against something a few years ago.
Okay.
So when a big thing comes up, if somebody wants over $1.5 million, please make sure that you don't leave your city council vote on that.
Thank you.
Randy Johnson?
Yes.